Hello everyone, and welcome to this Green Gown Awards Exchange webinar. The title of this Exchange webinar is Top Tips for Green Gown Award Success, and it will last approximately 1 hour. More information on the Green Gown Awards can be found on the EAUC's website and on the Sustainability Exchange. Thank you for registering, and also thanks to Helen Exton from the Green Gown Awards. My name is Steph, and I'm the Membership Engagement Officer here at the EAUC. As you know, the EAUC delivered the Sustainability Exchange, which was initially a funded project from HEFKE and led by Staffordshire University. So what are exchanges? Exchanges are free lunchtime webinars on a range of sustainability topics. If you're interested in presenting one, just get in touch with us at sustainabilityexchange@eauc.org.uk or email myself. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we start the webinar. I'm hoping that everyone can hear me well. I have muted you all to avoid any background noise, and you will continue to be muted throughout the webinar. If you're having any technical issues throughout this exchange, please let me know by either posting on the on-screen chat box on the right-hand side of your screen or sending me an email to sikirby@eauc.org.uk. Hopefully most of you have your microphones working. Don't worry if they're not, as you'll still have an opportunity to ask any questions at the end. Just to let you know, this webinar is going to be recorded and uploaded as a resource on the Sustainability Exchange with the presentation. Please feel free to share these resources with any colleagues or fellow EAUC members at the end of the day. Once the webinar is finished, you'll be sent a short survey for us to gain your feedback. Please take a few minutes to complete the survey, as your results will help us improve our CPD and events. That's all from me for now. Thanks again for registering onto this webinar, and I'll pass you over to Helen Exton from the Green Gown Awards.
Morning everyone, I'm Helen Exton and I'm part of the Green Gown Awards team. My role today is to encourage you to apply for a Green Gown Award, and we've put together some top tips for what we hope will be your award success. So I'm going to run through the presentation, and afterwards at the end I will ask you for any questions that you may have. So if you can bear with me just to go through the presentation. If you have any thoughts along the way, please write them down, and please do ask them at the end. I'm not sure exactly, from everyone that's on board here, I'm not quite sure who has applied for an award before. So some of it may be a bit too basic for you maybe, but hopefully we'll cover something that you didn't know before, and it will help you in your application process. So let's start. Right, so the webinar is going to take us through what things we need to think about when applying for a Green Gown Award. We receive many applications, so you want to make sure you submit the best one that you possibly can for your project. And there is an art to defining a successful application. So here are our top 10 tips for award success to help you in your award submission. On the slides here, you'll see that we have links. These link to either the EAUC website, where you can find further information, or the Sustainability Exchange. So why enter? Well, first of all, you're all working really hard on sustainability projects. You've accomplished your goals and you want to promote it to others. By applying for a Green Gown Award, you're not only promoting your project, but you're also helping others within the organisation, motivating them and rewarding those who have been involved in the project. Students and staff, by engaging them in your application, you're acknowledging all their efforts. So we encourage you to involve your students and your staff, but mainly your students, in the application process as well. It's a great way to maintain the project engagement. So other than raising your profile and gaining recognition from senior management, it also re-energises and motivates your sustainability commitment. If you need any further convincing, Ian Patton, CEO of the EAUC, has done a short video, and there's a link here on the slide. So after the webinar, please feel free to click through to that. So each year, categories are reviewed by the Green Gown Award Steering Group. And they reflect current topics. Some of the categories are modified, and some of them are added, and a few which perhaps are a bit old. Maybe some of the categories are integrated into each other. We change them and we make sure there's new categories available. This year we have 14 categories, and you'll see here on the slide the current categories for this year. I think the best newcomer, that's open to those that have never previously applied for an award before. If you're not sure, we have a list in the office. So after the call, the webinar, please either email us or call us, and we can let you know if your organisation has applied before. But hopefully there, with the projects that you're working on, there's something to suit you all. In addition to that, if you're a small organisation, that's classed as 6,500 full-time students, you have also a greater chance of being put forward and winning an award because judges have the discretion to award for both small and a large institution. So if you think you're small and your project perhaps can't compete with those larger institutions, then there's a great opportunity for you to apply. So why apply? Obviously, if you apply for something, you want to win it. So make sure your application is the best it can be and it doesn't let you down. We have lots of frequently asked questions and guidelines on the website, and don't be afraid to ask us for help. In addition to that, your institution may have previously applied, and if you go through the paperwork on the website for the winners brochures from the previous years, you could see your institution mentioned alongside the project team. They could be a great mentor to help you fill in your form. So please do take time to look through that. Time management. It takes a long time to prepare all the information you require for your application. So you must start planning it as soon as you can. It could be another department has to provide you with some, I don't know, energy information or carbon savings, and that will take them a while to provide the data. So make sure that you're on top of it and you get everyone involved from the start. And as we mentioned before, involve your students. Delegate some tasks to them. Further on in the application process, there's some other opportunities to get them involved. But set clear objectives from the outset. Get your team involved, and also please use your students too. So preparation. It's imperative that you carefully read the entry criteria for each category and the entry rules before you start your submission. Again, on the website, all the criteria are listed, and as well as that, there's a generic criteria list as well. This is just a prompt to remind you to include certain types of data, which will be required depending on the type of category that you're applying for. So it's very important that you read that. If anything is unclear at all, please do get back to us and we can explain it further. The categories, so it could be your project covers across more than one category. If you think it fits a couple of categories, that is fine. I'll come on to that a little bit later. But if you're reading the category criteria and you think it doesn't quite fit, then it probably doesn't. We do get a lot of applications, so make sure that you choose the correct category for your project. So do your research. Learn from the best. The easiest way to do this is to go to the past winners, which are all available on the Sustainability Exchange. We have over 360 resources here, and there are case studies and videos of past finalists, highly commended, and winners. Finalists and winners brochures. Each institution finalist has a page, and on that page they have 3 top tips from the learnings from their projects. So again, the more you can read and the more background research you can do, hopefully it will give you a stronger application. Hopefully there'll be something in there that you can use for your project. We also have international winners, and we have a little brochure on those, again on the Sustainability Exchange. There are 3 categories which are for the international category. So if you're looking at entering one of the international categories, it might be worthwhile you having a look at the international entries from past years as well. So think about your audience. Who's going to be reading your entry? The judging panel is made up of a cross-section of higher and further education and industry experts. We usually have around 80 or 90 of them, so there's quite a large number. So imagine you're one of the judges and think about what you would want and need to read in the application form. We have many applications, so you need to make your application clear and succinct. And make sure you've got a catchy title. If it's catchy, people will remember it, perhaps a little bit more. Hopefully the project will be the most memorable thing, but do make sure you've got a catchy title. And the stage 1 judging, I don't know if you've had time to look at the form yet, but the judging is based on a composite view of the application and taking into account the category criteria within the application form and the specific criteria of the award category. So the stage 1 form focuses on the initiative, which is your project, and environmental and social benefits. You're not asked to fill in the other questions because that's part of the stage 2, should you be selected as a finalist. So it's really important at this stage that you put in as much information that you can in order to attract the attention of the judges. And again, on the website, we have lots of guidance notes, so please do have this to hand when you fill in the form. So top tip number 6, keep it simple. You need to focus on the judges and what they're actually asking for in the category criteria. So we don't want any sales and marketing blur. This is an opportunity for you to address them. Make sure your submission is succinct, clear, and easy to understand, and use heading and subheadings to structure your submission. Important, you do not provide web links. Judges are too busy. They have a lot of applications to go through. They don't have the time to click through every single web link that people enter on the entry form. So please, for that reason, if it's important information, include it in your application form. And then this is very important. You must stick to the page limit and the font size. We used to have a word count, but now it's a page guide that dictates how long your application form is. Some people are quite crafty and do miniature font. We do have a limit on the size of the font. It's Arial 10, so please don't go any smaller than that. Judges have to be able to read it. So stage 1 application, you have a cover page, which is not included in the application, and you have up to 4 pages for your data. So in total, that's 5 A4 pages. So please don't go over it. Top tip number 7, numbers, facts and figures. This is really important. We have many applications and some of them don't include figures. It's really important to include the figures to substantiate what you're saying. It needs to be an accurate representation of your achievements, and statistical evidence is one of the methods of doing it. On the category page is a checklist of figures to include in your application. This is a generic criteria. So please do look at that and make sure that if any of these address the category you're applying for, you have actually addressed these questions. So whenever possible, provide compelling data. If you're applying for the continuous improvement category, you must benchmark your previous application. If you're reapplying, you are able to do so within 2 years, but you must benchmark your previous application versus the current status in order to measure the clear improvement since previous submission. So top tip number 8, shout loud and clear about your achievements. In other words, this is your opportunity to show off. Don't be a wallflower. Make sure that you create a song and dance about it. You've worked hard, and this is your opportunity to show off about it. Please always back up your claims with evidence and provide proof of innovation, positive impact on stakeholders, return on investment, strategic success, outperforming the sector, customer focus, leadership, and social responsibility. Again, in all the applications that we get, if you can be succinct and make sure that your claims are backed up with evidence, that's really helpful to the judges when they're reviewing the applications. Top tip 9A, if at first you do succeed, that's great. The judging takes place at the end of June, and on the 7th of July we'll be contacting you to say if you've been listed as a finalist or if you've been unsuccessful on this occasion. In that email you will receive further instructions about what you need to do. So you've been successful, great. You now go forward to stage 2. We do ask all finalists to help disseminate the awards, and we have various methods that we use. One is to create a case study. We have a template which is quite easy to fill in. It is quite a lot of cut and pasting from your application form, and it includes your logo. So we ask you to fill that in, and we also ask you to create a short video on your project. And the video doesn't have to be a blockbuster movie video. We encourage you to use your students. Need only be 2 minutes long. The key focus is your project and what you've done within your institution. We have some guidelines, and also we have a webinar which shows you how to create a video on a shoestring, which will help you when you get to that process. So we really, really encourage you to promote your success within your own institution and beyond. So, okay, you applied for stage 1, and on this occasion you were unsuccessful. What now? Obviously, we appreciate you'll be disappointed, but we like to hope everyone learns from the experience. It could be the judges give you some really good feedback, and you're able to use that again for an entry another year. But use it as a means for assessing and benchmarking your performance. You're obviously not going to promote the fact that you didn't get through, but do promote the fact that you applied, because even applying is something to congratulate yourself about. So make sure that you congratulate your team, but obviously we want the encouragement there to go forward and apply again the following year. And top tip number 10, we are here to help. If you still need any guidance after reading the website and the criteria and all the FAQs, if you have any questions unanswered, obviously we'll have an opportunity in a minute. It could be maybe next week you're putting something together and you're unsure. Please do come back to us, and we'll do as much as we can to help you. We want to encourage as many of you as possible to apply for a Green Gown Award. So what next? Well, basically, we recommend lots of background reading. There's a lot of helpful guides out there. Obviously, there's all the web links in this presentation, and also the Sustainability Exchange with all past winners, case studies, and videos. So please do take the time. It could be you're focusing on a specific category, in which case you can just focus on that one category. Lots of information out there to help you. The stage 1 application form is on the website. Please download it, and you can read the introduction and make sure that you've got all the guidelines to hand before you fill it in. And again, as we've mentioned before, do engage your students with how to help you in the process. It could even be part of the curriculum process, but do please engage them as much as you can. Start collecting your data. If it's not you who needs to put it together, someone else will need to. So give them time to collect the data for you. If you have any testimonials from people on the projects you've done, please include those in your application. Just generally take the time to get all the information together, and then you have it to hand to put into your application form. But please don't leave it too late. Allow plenty of time. And the deadline for application for this year is 12th of June at noon. So please, you can send them in before that, but please, that's the deadline for this year. For an overview of all the other deadlines, you can go click on the link and it'll take you to the website. So that was all very quick, brief introduction to the top tips. So thank you for listening. I hope I haven't rushed through it too quickly. It could be you have some questions. If you do have some questions, perhaps you can state your name and which university and college you come from. But yes, so I'd like to open up to questions, please.
Thank you, Helen. If you'd like to ask a question, you can unmute yourself on the chat box, or you can pose a question within the chat box, and I'll ask it to Helen or to the rest on the webinar.
No questions at the moment? Maybe we can just mention a bit about the categories. The 14 categories we have this year, we have 3 of the categories are international categories. That's the same as in previous years. And these categories, which are community innovation, that used to be called social responsibility, and it's been renamed for this year. We have student engagement, and then also we have continuous improvement, institutional change. These 3 categories, if you are successful and you go forward and you actually win in that category, you will then go head-to-head with the international partners. That's from Australia and then French-speaking countries, which are including Europe and also Canada this year. So there's a sort of a further awards, if you like, for the international categories. So if anyone has any questions about specific categories, I'm open to that as well.
Hi, Helen. We have a question here regarding applications. The question is, do all applications have to be submitted by university, or will applications from contractors or outsourced departments of the university be accepted?
Right, yes. No, that's a good point. We do accept third parties, as we call them. Universities or colleges will be applying in their own entity. If you work with a contractor, you can do a joint submission, and obviously they will be named in the application form, but the actual entry will belong to the institution, so the college or the university. So any publication, communication about being listed anywhere will be under the institution name. But yes, a third party, it could be an architect, it could be a bike scheme company, it could be anything. They can be involved in the application and encourage you to apply, but the actual application will be under the institution name. So the answer is yes.
Great. We have another question as well, which has been sent to everyone. What features of the submission most caught the attention of the judges?
Sorry, Seth, can you just say that again?
What features of the submission most caught the attention of the judges?
Well, I think it's generally, I would say, if you're doing something that no one else has done before, that attracts a lot of attention. We do have many, many applications, usually around 200. And if everyone's doing something similar, I mean, they're really, really good initiatives and projects, and obviously making an impact in their own institution. But if there's lots of very similar projects, it becomes a little bit samey, and you need to stand out a little bit from the crowd. So I think by having an innovative spin on it, that definitely helps draw the attention of the judges, because they're all to be applauded, but if someone's doing something in a different way and having just as good an impact, or an unusual way, I think that definitely brings a little bit more attention to the application.
Okay, we have another question here, which has been sent to everyone. Do you know if the Green Gown Awards keep records of feedback from unsuccessful applications? And talking about this would be the first time applying, and they would like to see where I can improve on previous applications.
Yes, we do. We do have records going back, I think probably 2 or 3 years. So if you've applied, your institution has applied and been unsuccessful, we can probably find the judges' comments. I'm sure we filed them somewhere. If that helps you apply again for this year. Yeah, perhaps afterwards, if you email, I can then look into it and pull out the comments. Excuse me. What you need to bear in mind is, if it's unsuccessful at stage 1, we do have many, many applications, around 200. So it's quite hard for the judges to give a lot of feedback. So we generally find it could be bulleted feedback or quite brief. But obviously it's a little bit of feedback. Stage 2, you tend to get a bit more feedback because they've got less applications and they're able to dedicate a bit more time to giving you some more detailed feedback. So yes, we do have a limited supply, I think, going a couple of years. So if anyone's interested in that, please do email me after the webinar. Any more questions?
Okay, would anybody like to ask any more questions, whether it be on the chat box again or unmuting themselves and asking it out loud?
I think one other thing that comes to mind is, in the application process, we do receive lots of applications that just sort of state, oh, students were involved, but they don't actually state the number of students. The same with staff. So it's really important in terms of trying to get a picture of the whole project, that whenever you're talking about students and staff, perhaps you can put in a bit more detail, how many, when it happened, what the outcome was. I think we need quite a bit more information on that side of it. Otherwise, the application might seem a bit light if it's unknown, if it's 2 students, or it could be 100. I mean, the number doesn't have to be massive. It's just it's nice to have information on that in the application.
Okay, we have another question here, which has been sent to everyone. Where will the awards be held and when?
All right, that's a good question. We are looking for a venue. As you know, we'd like to try and hold it within a university or a college, keeping it in the sector. But as the awards grow year on year, it's getting harder and harder to find somewhere large enough to host us. It will take place in November, and we try and keep it as centrally based as we can, so easy to get to by public transport, trains primarily. So hopefully we'll have some further information about that in a month or so. So at the moment I can't tell you where, but it will be coming out soon.
Okay, great. If you have any further questions, you can also pose it to us by email after the webinar. So if you want to know about a particular category or anything to do with the awards, you can email us greengown@eauc.org.uk. Okay, it seems that we have no more questions coming in. So I'd like to thank you all for attending. Thank you, Helen, for presenting. I will, of course, be emailing you with the video and any links to the presentation, so you can have access to this afterwards. and please share it with your colleagues. Yeah, thank you for attending.
Okay, thank you, Seth.